Hey guys, so today I got some really important updates regarding the Epstein files and Donald Trump. Many news sources have been talking about since yesterday, November 12th, 2025, that the emails that were recently released by the House of Representatives, uh, the Democrats from the House of Representatives, really show what um, Trump has been doing with Epstein, and Epstein claimed that Trump always knew about all the sex trafficking that he was doing. So that's really interesting. So I'm gonna watch this on CBS News. Again, this is from November 12th, 2025.
But let's begin with that breaking news. Democrats on the House Oversight Committee have released emails that they say shows Donald Trump knew about Jeffrey Epstein's criminal activity. That is something the president has always denied.
Yeah, Donald Trump kept saying he didn't know anything about Jeffrey Epstein's, sex trafficking situation, him being a pedophile and all that. More and more evidence demonstrating that Trump knew, and most likely, at least there's some circumstantial evidence regarding this that he was also part of it. I mean, that Trump was most likely part of the whole pedophile o- uh, plans and organization that Jeffrey Epstein was doing. There's circumstantial evidence proving that as well. But he definitely knew about it. That's for certain, even more now. And there's not much he can say besides claim there's a Democrat hoax. And the White House recently confirmed that it was not a hoax, but that it's taken out of context. That's the new way of them dealing with this because it's direct evidence against Donald Trump. If Donald Trump was really innocent, why does he behave like someone who's not innocent, someone who's a very guilty individual? Because it's very obvious, it's not just him. There are tons of powerful people with a lot of money, a lot of influence, a lot of authority that all connects back to Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein's islands. The Jeffrey Epstein island, the sex trafficking that Jeffrey Epstein did with Maxwell. There's a bunch of powerful people connected to this. Democrats, Republicans, and people internationally alike. So it's something that makes a lot of people nervous that if we can take down Donald Trump, he could take down everyone else related to this.
CBS News congressional correspondent Nicole Killian is joining us now to talk more about this. So, Nicole, break down this email traffic between Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, and what does it say? Well, so Democrats on the House Oversight Committee released three sets of emails. Keep in mind the committee.
So the Democrats of the House Oversight Committee, they basically are the ones that be investigating this, and their job is to provide transparent investigation and demonstrate the findings they have to the public. That's what they're supposed to do. Republicans have been the ones trying to stop them from doing that because obviously it makes a lot of Republicans look extremely bad. They already lost horribly during the November 4th, 2025 election. It was a Bruce tsunami, and this just makes Trump look even worse. And this is something that Trump claimed that he would do, release absent files that was part of his campaign, and then he didn't. And he's been going back and forth with this bullshit. And now it's really hitting him hard, and he's been panicking even more now.
Had received thousands of documents from the Epstein estate, and so they have pulled out these emails that were uncovered, basically showing several exchanges between Jeffrey.
I will pause here so you guys can read. This is very important. This is very damning evidence against Donald Trump, as clear cut as it can get. So let me read. I want you to realize that that dog that hasn't barked is Trump, aka Donald Trump. This was a victim name. They didn't put it. Yeah, I understand that. Spent hours, the victim spent hours at my house with him. He has never once been mentioned. Police chief, etc. I'm 75%. Uh, Whatever else you have to write. 75% there, I think. Yeah. So I'm 75% there. So this is what the House Oversight Committee released, and just more damning evidence against Donald Trump. And this was Epstein emailed to Maxwell. Keep that in mind.
Epstein and others, including Ghislaine Maxwell, about President Trump. Obviously, he was not president at the time that these emails were written, but in one exchange, for instance, this was.
Look at this. The Vento Mar-a-Lago identifier. Trump said he asked me to resign, never a member ever. Of course, he knew about the girls. He asked Maxwell. Um, he asked Maxwell to stop. Sorry, just because of the subsidy going, it covers the the last part of it. But very important thing for people to see and read. Now, again, this now is an email to Michael Wolff. These things are all extremely important and evidence against Donald Trump.
An exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell, his associate, where he basically in 2011 writes that Donald Trump, quote, spent hours at my house with an alleged victim of sex trafficking. It also, the email refers to Trump as, quote, a dog that hasn't barked. There was a separate email exchange between Jeffrey Epstein and an author by the name of Michael Wolff that took place in 2019, where Epstein shares that Donald Trump, quote, knew about the girls as he asked Ghislaine, referencing Ghislaine Maxwell, to stop it. And then there was a third email exchange involving Epstein and Wolff, where basically it seems...
this one. So this thing just keeps going over and over and over. So in this email is from Mike Wolff, email to Epstein, I think you should let him hang himself. If he says he hasn't been on the plane or to the house, then that gives you a valuable PR and political currency. Interesting.
That Trump was about to be interviewed by a network, and so the email exchange was about crafting an answer should Trump be asked about Jeffrey Epstein. So what Democrats on the House Oversight Committee allege is that the president may have known more about Jeffrey Epstein and his alleged illegal behavior. However, the president, as you pointed out, has denied any wrongdoing. He has not yet responded to this release. We did try to ask Speaker Mike Johnson about it a short time ago, but he too...
Mike Johnson is a piece of shit. Instead of representing the constituents that voted for him, he represents Trump and tried to defend him just like all the GOP members. I keep telling people don't vote Republicans because they don't give a shit about you. They vote to give tax breaks to the rich while increase the tax burden on average American citizens all the fucking time. They take away rights from people like LGBTQ plus community members, women's rights, people of color rights, etc. But and immigrant rights, but they always give so much benefits to the rich and the wealthy. It's always socialism for the rich and rugged capitalism to the poor, as I'm paraphrasing Dr. King. So people gotta keep those things in mind. They don't care about you. And I think the November 4th, 2025 election, that Tuesday election of this year, really demonstrated that a lot of people are pissed off with Republicans. Hopefully that will continue in 2026 midterm election. Extremely important because every single House member is going to be out there to be elected, and at least 32 members of the Senate are going to also be out there to be replaced. Very possible to put more progressives, aka progressive Democrats, into power if people really take primary elections seriously.
Did not respond to our questions. All right, Nicole, stand by. I want to bring in CBS News White House correspondent Nancy Cordes to join the conversation. Nancy, I guess we haven't yet heard anything from the White House, but the president has always denied all the allegations surrounding Jeffrey Epstein, even that drawing that was released by the Wall Street Journal. He denied that he even drew that, and he wrote that message. So what are we expecting to get a statement, something from Caroline Leavitt or the president in the next couple of hours? Well, Caroline Leavitt is scheduled to hold a briefing in a couple of hours. So if there is no statement, if there's no response to the questions we've asked already, she will probably be asked about it when she briefs at 1 p.m. Eastern. But President Trump has always maintained, as you point out, that he didn't know anything about Epstein's criminal behavior.
Which we know is complete bullshit.
That he actually had a falling out and ended their friendship back in the 2000s because he was frustrated that Epstein kept hiring away so many young employees from Mar-a-Lago. As far as these emails are concerned, and
he keeps claiming that, but there's evidence that even all the way to 2019, the year that Jeffrey Epstein died, Trump still has connection with Epstein, still has connection with potentially the Epstein Island. There's tons of evidence that to the day that Epstein died, Trump was still connected with him, still doing a lot of weird, potentially sex trafficking related behavior with his sex trafficked kids. For himself, for other pedophiles, etc. It's very obvious that Trump is heavily connected to Epstein and the whole sex trafficking ring they had.
The Epstein files writ large, President Trump has argued that it is some kind of Democrat witch hunt to try to paint him in a negative light.
Even though Donald Trump was the one who wanted to release all the Epstein files as part of his 2024 campaign, which is why people voted for him too. And he claimed that the Epstein client list existed. Now he's doing the opposite. I mean, many viewers about Epstein files and updates to it. It's just probably the biggest one, really.
But the whole reason that these emails are being released today, Vlad, it's no accident. It's because Adelita Grijalva, who was elected weeks ago in a special election in Arizona, is finally being sworn in later today, and she will be.
Yep, that's the other update. Finally, finally, Adelita was sworn in. That again, they took 7 weeks. That's almost 2 months to sworn her in, just so she wouldn't sign the resolution in the House to try to release the Epstein files, demonstrating the GOP are not good people, and they really don't give a shit about the victims that had to suffer from the hands of Epstein and Donald Trump, among all the powerful people.
That crucial 218th signature to force a vote that would then force the Justice Department to release the Epstein files. That's what a lot of Democrats and some Republicans have been seeking. Democrats have argued that it's the whole reason that the House Speaker kept the House out of session for weeks so he would not have to swear in Grijalva, but it is happening today.
Which is true. Yeah, it's true. That's why Mark Justin kept doing that. So he wanted someone in, so she wouldn't sign and release the files. They had time to redact it, change it, alter the files as much as they can.
House is back to vote on reopening the government, and so that could potentially prompt a fascinating and messy new chapter in this story. Nicole, let me ask you really quickly before we move on to talk about the shutdown. To that point, that new congresswoman that will be sworn in today, we know that that vote on the continuing resolution is happening later at 5 o'clock. When do we expect the swearing in ceremony to take place? Well, we expect Grijalva to be sworn in before that. She will also deliver remarks on the House floor, and she has indicated, as Nancy pointed out, that she intends to sign that discharge petition that would ultimately force a vote to call on the Justice Department to fully release those Epstein files. But I do think it's important to note all of this is not going to go down today. Like, as soon as she signs this,
unfortunately, we would love that to happen, but it won't.
Petition, the vote is not going to happen. It is a process that could take a few more weeks, so we don't expect a vote on releasing the Epstein files likely until early next month.
So that's really it. The damning evidence against Donald Trump. Once again, people really should keep in mind that Donald Trump had direct connection with Epstein and Epstein Island and the sex trafficking that he did with Maxwell, etc. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. If you think this is done, finally the more direct evidence, somewhat, so really strong circumstantial evidence at least against Donald Trump, and if you think this might lead to people voting more for Democrats during the 2026 midterm election. It's going to be every single person in the House and 33 senator position being, up for election next year. So I don't know if you think that's going to help change the mind of people from voting for GOP to voting for Democrats. If you like this video, like and subscribe. Watch this on TikTok. Follow us on TikTok and support us on Patreon. All right, guys, have a good day.